On this channel, we usually discuss timely issues and current events. However, understanding certain topics can help clarify the background of various phenomena happening in China today. It also makes it easier to assess the impact of events when they occur. For example, knowing what has transpired between the Chinese military and Xi Jinping so far helps you gauge how significant an event is when it happens. If a key military figure is ousted, for instance, knowing whether similar incidents have occurred in the past lets you judge the event's impact. Without such background knowledge, it's hard to tell whether the event is a big deal or just routine. In this way, knowing the context of events helps you understand their significance. This applies not just to military matters but also to U.S. policies on China. For instance, understanding the context of American strategy shows that tariff increases are not isolated moves but part of a broader strategy. Therefore, from time to time, we create content that serves as a preservation edition to explain such background information in detail. Starting this year, we plan to clearly indicate such content as preservation editions and compile them into a dedicated playlist. For our first preservation edition this year, we will discuss the national strategy of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. This topic is closely related to American strategies and also relevant to Japan. Japan, too, needs to understand this thoroughly and act strategically. While it's not an immediate issue, failing to prepare now could lead to outcomes like those seen in the digital defeat narrative surrounding the US 5 or 10 years from now. This could further weaken Japan's national power, making this a critical issue. So, let's dive into today's topic, starting with an overview of China's strategy and America's response. As a communist country, China manages its economy and industry development based on state plans. For example, under its Made in China 2025 plan, the CCP has identified key areas of focus and laid out goals for advancing these industries. In the semiconductor sector, for instance, they've set targets for self-sufficiency rates and established systems to achieve these goals, pouring state funds into the effort. It's straightforward, the CCP prioritizes specific areas and channels national resources into them. From America's perspective, if China's semiconductor production grows as planned, it poses a significant challenge. If China achieves its goals, the U.S. cannot sit idly by. Consequently, the U.S. targets and suppresses areas in China's strategy that it considers unacceptable. In this clear-cut scenario, the CCP's ambition to produce semiconductors domestically at scale clashes with U.S. efforts to hinder such advancements. Some may wonder why the CCP openly reveals its national strategies, such as increasing semiconductor self-sufficiency, knowing full well that it invites opposition from other countries. Wouldn't it be better to keep such strategies secret? This openness is actually a characteristic of China's approach. By announcing their plans, they encourage domestic companies to step up and compete. This competition helps the strongest and most competitive companies emerge, which the state then supports to become globally competitive. This method has its flaws, and for various reasons, it hasn't always succeeded. While going into detail on why would take too long for this video, suffice it to say that the approach has not been entirely effective. Nevertheless, this has been their general method. Why announce strategies openly? China's plans are broad and encompass numerous areas. Keeping everything secret would be inefficient. The CCP, which doesn't have comprehensive knowledge across all fields, benefits from opening up the information. This allows companies with the necessary expertise to step forward, enabling the government to assess their potential and provide support. For example, in research and development, China not only conducts its own research but is also accused of acquiring foreign intellectual property, hiring foreign talent, and using other aggressive methods. While controversial, these approaches are part of how China backs key sectors and fosters competition. However, this openness also makes it easy for other nations to see where China is focusing its efforts. In areas deemed critical, such as semiconductors or telecommunications, the U.S. applies significant pressure to counter China's advancements. For instance, the Made in China 2025 initiative outlines numerous key sectors, providing a clear picture of where the U.S. might intervene. Understanding this context helps make sense of U.S. actions against specific Chinese industries. This background brings us to today's main discussion: China's national strategy, specifically in the medical and healthcare sector. The Chinese government's Healthy China 2030 plan outlines policies for improving healthcare systems, drug development, and medical device production. While some aspects, such as healthcare insurance, are primarily domestic concerns, other areas, like pharmaceutical and medical device development, have significant international implications. China aims to elevate its pharmaceutical and medical device industries to international standards by 2030. Currently, these sectors rely heavily on foreign products, with generics dominating the pharmaceutical market. China's goal is to shift towards developing original drugs and exporting them globally. Similarly, it seeks to produce advanced medical devices domestically to reduce reliance on imports. Achieving these goals within 5 years is ambitious, but this forms the basis of their strategy. Additionally, in the broader manufacturing context, Japan must pay close attention to these developments to avoid being left behind. A particularly critical aspect is the use of big data in healthcare. The medical field is undergoing a paradigm shift, particularly with AI development. Utilizing big data requires standardized data formats, labeling, and storage practices across medical institutions. Such standardization facilitates efficient data usage while ensuring patient privacy. China's strategy includes establishing such standards to enable big data-driven AI advancements in healthcare. This paradigm shift may not be immediately apparent to patients, but its impact will be profound in the long run.